Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over another Leetcode medium question in the panda section that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy about this. Again, this one was quite straightforward for me and I'm pretty glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem without any assistance. So again, happy about that, and let me show you how I did it. So again, the acceptance rate of this one is actually kind of high, so I don't know, most people seem to have done it, so maybe not that thing to be proud about, but either way, this one's called DNA pattern recognition. Again, I don't like reading the description, I just like looking at the example. So you want to return a table that looks like this. So let's go ahead and do that. So return a data frame object, samples, columns should be equal to sample ID. Just create the skeleton. That's how I like to do it. Sequence species has start, has stop, has ATAT, has GGG. So these columns are going to be null for now. So we have to pre-fill them with data. So the way we're going to do that is just to give them dummy values. Let's just go ahead and populate them with a sample ID. So from has start onwards. So samples has starts is equal to samples sample ID. Samples has stop, same thing, samples sample ID. Has tat, samples sample ID. I'm tempted to just copy, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that. So GGG equals samples sample ID. So now we at least have values for those columns, but now we have to make sure they're correct. So now let's actually have to read the instructions now. So this one's called here. So we have to edit the values after we populate them with data. So sequences that start with ATG means that, so every time there's some kind of a valid condition Boolean here, it looks like you want to return a 1. Otherwise, in that cell, particular cell, return a 0. So maybe it's smarter to pre-fill these zeros, but either way, let's go ahead and iterate over samples DNA sequence. So now we can say, just literally just follow the instructions. So if v dot starts with ATG, so what do? So if this one starts with ATG, which it does, it begins with, then samples, we have to make this has start equal to 1, right? Samples has start of I, which is the current rows particular cell using I is equal to 1. Otherwise, we set that cell to 0, right? Samples has start of I is equal to 0. And then we do the same thing for the other 3 conditions. So if v dot ends with TAA, or v dot ends with TAG, or v dot ends with TGA, then samples that cell has stop of I is equal to 1, else samples has stop of I equals to 0. Okay, so same thing, doing with these, contains these. So basically, if ATAT appears at all inside of the string, it doesn't matter, it has to be at the start, it doesn't have to be at the start. So if ATAT, this string, is inside of V, then samples, same thing, now this cell has ATAT of I is equal to 1, else samples has ATAT of I is equal to 0. Then last but not least, if, so GGG is in V or GGGG is in V, samples has GGG of I is equal to 1. Otherwise, samples has GGG of I is equal to 0, right? So the current rows particular cell. So let's run this. Okay, submit it. And there you go, passes all test cases. Again, really happy that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any help. Even though the runtime is not great, I'm sure that you could optimize this, but for the sake of this video, this is just my way of doing it. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.